It's Thursday, November 22nd. Friday, November 23rd, if you're on the East Coast or across the pond. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you nightly on the SOR Radio Network and Deep Talk Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. It has a brand new look. Take a look at it. We have a plethora of features for you. We got some Bumblefoot. You can soon shop at our brand new Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel in Suho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Go to spacedoutradio.com, click on the In Suho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners tonight. Thank you so much for tuning us in. I hope you had a wonderful dinner, wonderful time with family and or friends. And I hope you are now wrapping your knuckles up in tinfoil, ready to say, hell with all that Thanksgiving nonsense. Let's go brawl on Black Friday. Yes, we are just moments away from that. Well, the East Coast would have been hitting that right now. Come on, we need some good brawl stories. Put it on my Twitter feed or my Facebook account. I want to read all about them. It's all like a good hockey fight, isn't it? We're taking a good look at the paranormal tonight from a former skeptic. That was until Andrea Mesich had a dramatic encounter with a ghost in 2004. Since then, she has been on the hot list of studying the paranormal, practicing new techniques, testing different theories, researching history, trying to discover why paranormal events happen and what can we learn from them. And we're going to take this one step further. Being that she's a woman, we're going to find out what is the woman's role in the paranormal as well. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, Olaf Phillips from Paranoia Magazine will be back with another edition of the SOR Newswire. Ms. Andrea Mesich, it's been a few years since we had you on this show. I'm glad we could do this again because I love chatting with you. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. My belly is full of turkey, and I am ready to talk the paranormal.
Oh, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to talk Black Friday? And are you preparing for the brawls?
I am never doing Black Friday again, ever. I mean, I live in a small town. I mean, it's a small elderly community, kind of. You know, we're an older community, and they are vicious. I mean, they will throw you down for a tom-tom. I am never going through that again. I'll tell you what.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You cannot mess with it. You definitely cannot mess with it. I mean, I look forward to it. I mean, you know, when I'm feeling down and out, and I'm feeling like I need a little bit of craziness in my life, because I live a pretty happily boring life. All right. Besides this show, which takes me to peak woo quite often. I go and watch videos like Black Friday videos because it just reminds me of the stupidity of mankind. Or, pardon me, we're in Canada, people kind. But I love it. I honestly love it. I think, I mean, would I go to Black Friday alone? The only reason why me as a Canadian, I'm a little jealous is because our Thanksgiving was in October. And now, Andrea, watching this, I'm ready. I'm feeling it. I'm pumped up to get on YouTube after the show and all the networks to see the brawls happening. I want to see little kids crying from, some 48-year-old lady ripping toys out of their hands. I want to see guys going at it for that $74 television that's regular $9.99. I want to see it. I love it.
Yeah, you won't see me on any of them ever. Cyber Monday all the way. I'm staying in my pajamas, and I'm just going to go to Amazon.com and just look for all my gifts there. So,
oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not doing – I can't do Black Friday again. I almost got a black eye on Black Friday by a 90-year-old woman who wanted this last doll that I was going to buy my niece. So, yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Not happening again.
Oh, that just excites me. That just excites me. I'm feeling Black Friday always makes me feel a little sadistic. I mean, this is like, preparing for a super fight in UFC or boxing. This is like WrestleMania, the real WrestleMania. It's beautiful.
It's scary. Especially, we just came out of a holiday where we're supposed to be giving thanks for all the things that we have to like just beating the crap out of each other for like 15% off some kind of like a little trinket for, kids and me.
You know what? That's the beautiful irony of it all, though. That's the beautiful irony of it all.
Yeah, that is.
And I absolutely love it. I mean, there's going to be people saying, shut up about this. Get to the paranormal talk. No, man, I'm pumped up for Black Friday. I want to see it. I want to see it happen. Makes me feel good.
Well, you know what? The sad thing is, I don't think it's going to be as bad this year. Honestly, I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm sure it's going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be as bad this year because stores are closing left and right because of online shopping. We've lost Barnes & Noble, a bookstore that used to be local here. It's all across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Book World, they went bankrupt. They're completely closed. Kmart's are closed. Sears are closing. We lost Toys R Us. Everything's online now, so you're not going to get that Black Friday beatdown as much as you probably would have in past years.
You know what, though? I think it's a sign of the times, and I do not shop online. I refuse to.
Yeah.
I know I'm against the times, but you know what?
My mom's like that.
I like going to the store. I'm not a big shopper, but I like going to the store. I like to use my hands and my eyes to see what I want to get. Whether it's a Christmas present for one of my kids or whether, it's just going to buy groceries. I like the fact that I am the one picking it out. And I also like the fact living in a smaller community, although a little bit more expensive, I like supporting the local stores.
That's one thing I do. Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Unfortunately, we don't have very many stores here, but.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's a lot of fun to do that. And I've only done the online shopping a couple things because I knew I couldn't get them up here. And otherwise, everything I get, I go and do it myself. Maybe I'm old school.
Yeah.
Maybe I am. But you know what? I'll let you in
my mom would agree with you. So
I'll let you in on a little secret. I've never even bought anything from eBay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's like, wow, you're archaic then.
I am totally archaic. Totally archaic.
You're retro. You're not archaic. You're retro. You're retro. You like the retro way.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. They say retro is in, so you're cool then.
It's not that I don't appreciate the online thing. It's not that I don't appreciate it. I totally do. But I like talking to people. I like going out there and making it happen. But that's just me.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. It's
Anywho, let's get on with it here. How did you get involved with the paranormal? What happened to you in 2004?
Well, in 2004, I had no belief whatsoever in the paranormal. I liked ghost stories, but only, because they were fun and stupid and silly, and I didn't believe them. I just thought it was kind of fun to listen to. But my brother himself, he was very much into the paranormal, him and his, at the time, fiance. They later got married after this, but they were both very much into the paranormal. In fact, they travel around and go on paranormal tours and, little ghost hunts and things like that. And I always thought it was just goofy. Well, one time they went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for the week with a bunch of friends, and they went on lots of ghost tours, and they did a lot of touring of, the battlefields. And one thing my brother likes to do is he likes to take home souvenirs, but he's not like going into a shop and buying a trinket. He likes to take something that has more meaning. And when he was walking around the battlefield, he saw this rock. It was just like a regular rock. And he thought, well, this is somewhere that, a soldier might have actually stepped here. This might have been where somebody died. I mean, this has such significance. This rock, could have been way, way back from the time of, Gettysburg and the soldiers walking around, and I'm going to take this home with me. And so he took it home with him when he came back. And after he came back, my brother and my other brother, they went to this party that's like an hour away. It's Bastille Days, I think it's called. It's like some kind of a French party that happens in Milwaukee, and it's about a good 35-minute drive from where we lived at the time at my family home. And that night while they were gone, I heard somebody come home, open the front door, walk through the kitchen, heavy boots. Now, one of my brothers wears these work shoes because he's a police officer, and he's got these heavy, heavy shoes. And my other brother is he likes to wear cowboy boots. He does the whole cowboy thing. And so he has heavy boots too. So I thought it had to be one of them. They walked right through the kitchen, right past my stairs that led up to my loft where I slept, and into my brother's room, the one that went to Gettysburg. And then I heard his door close. So I went downstairs just to see how Bastille Days was and, if he had fun or not. And when I went to his room, I saw the light was on underneath the door. So I knew he had to be home because I actually went and closed the light off myself because my mom is a huge stickler about electricity, and you cannot waste it because if the light's on and you're not in there, that's money every second going. So she makes me turn off all the lights before I go to bed. So I knock on the door, and before my hand hits the door a second time, the door opens by itself, and there's nobody in the room whatsoever. And the room, so I'm looking around thinking, well, maybe he went to say goodnight to my mom. So I went to my mom's room and I said, did my brother come in and say goodnight to you? And she's like, no, but I heard somebody come home. And so then I went out again and I looked around, there's nobody there. And so I called my brothers on the phone thinking, well, maybe they just came in and left right away. And I could hear a party going on in the background. And so they're still at Bastille Days over 35 minutes away. Both of them, they both said, no, we're still here. And I said a lot of things I probably can't repeat on the air because of, they're not very polite. And I said, I think somebody broke into our house. And so I hung up real quick. And the first thing I did was I gave my mom a butcher knife and I sat her on the couch. I said, don't move, hold this butcher knife. Do not get off this couch. If somebody does come at you, you use the knife. Then I went to the basement door and I put a butter knife in there so that if somebody was down in the basement, they couldn't get back up. And then I actually had a legally owned gun. Of course, and I always want to say legally owned because, I just want to make sure that everybody knows in this PC era where it's not good to have a gun anymore. It's legally owned. And I went and I did a search from the perimeters, and I learned so much from both of my brothers being police officers. I knew exactly how to do a perimeter search, to make sure that everything was clear. And I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking in every nook, every cranny, and I'm giving fair warning that I'm armed and I'm ready to take control of everything. And I'm looking everywhere and there's nothing. I mean, there is literally nothing. So then finally I cleared my brother's room and I turned off the light. And as I'm leaving, the light turns back on by itself. And we're not talking about these newfangled lights. We're talking about an old light switch where it's like this heavy thing you push all the way down and you can hear a loud click. And so that you know it's on. So there's no like halfway where it pops back up. It's down is down and up is up. There's no in between. So when I turned around and I saw that it was up again, and I'm like, well, crap, that shouldn't have happened. So I walked up and I turned it off again, and I literally started walking backwards very slowly. And as I'm walking backwards, I physically see the light pop back up on its own. And that's when I realized that something is not right. Well, at the time, my brothers are rushing home because the last thing they heard is, I think somebody broke into the house. So they rushed home from Milwaukee. And of course, being the police officers they do a perimeter search on the outside. And they, noticed that it had rained all day. And so everything was all muddy where there wasn't grass or anything. And so they're looking for footprints and there's nothing. The only footprints are the footprints they were leaving themselves. All the windows were locked. All the doors, had been locked. Nothing had been displaced. There was no evidence that anybody had ever been near the house since my brothers left and between the time they left and when they came home. But yet here I had, my mom and I both heard somebody enter the home, walk through the kitchen, walk into my brother's room. The light that had been off had turned on. I went into my brother's room. Nobody was there. throughout this whole situation, I turn off the light, it turns back on by itself 2 times. I turn it off, and 2 times it turns on all by itself. That's not something I could explain. I wrapped my head around it. I tried to think, well, maybe there's an electrical issue. Maybe we were both hearing things. You hear about these things like mass hysteria. Well, maybe because I thought I heard something, she thought she heard something. Maybe she didn't, but she thought she did because I did. I'm trying to explain it away every way that I can. But then after that, it just kept building and building. I'd hear my name being called when nobody else was around, and it would be my name. And it wouldn't be just my name. It would be the nickname that everybody uses for me. So it's not like somebody is yelling Andrea outside the house or somebody saying a name Andrea and it just happens to be another Andrea. It was my nickname that was being called when nobody else was around. Or things would be toppling over, like they'd be sitting up there and they'd been sitting there for hours and hours and hours, and all of a sudden just plunk off my table or plunk off the TV, or it would just like fall to the ground for no apparent reason. No wind, no fans on, nothing that would have shaken it and then knocked it off. And it came to a head when I was talking to one of my friends, and I was sitting on my bed, and my bed's about 8 feet away from the closet. And I'm really upset at the time because I couldn't find batteries for a remote control. And I'm not a caveman. I use a remote control. I don't need to go and manually turn my TV every time I want a new station. I mean, I'm a girl of the 20th century. I'm ready for technology. You know, it's the 21st century. I'm not going to be doing anything manually. And I'm yelling at my friend about this. Like, I just bought these batteries. I can't believe I lost them already. I spent so much money on them. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a box from the very back of my closet on the top shelf didn't just drop and fall in my closet. It shot out 8 feet. And the only way that it actually stopped was because it hit my bed. And then when it tipped over, all of the batteries I had purchased but couldn't find were in that particular box that had been placed way in the back of my closet on a top shelf, far against the back wall. And it literally, like I said, shot 8 feet. Now, I tried to recreate that scenario for hours, and I could never get the box to fall out of the closet anywhere. I mean, the most I could get it to do is if I precariously placed it on the top shelf and it fell, it literally fell straight down inside the closet. It did not come anywhere outside of the closet, let alone 8 feet. And that's when I started to say, something weird is going on here that's a little bit more than I can naturally explain. But unfortunately, during that time, my father was very sick, and he had terminal cancer. It was one of those cancers where we don't have a cure yet. And he was towards the end of his life, unfortunately. And my grandmother had passed away, and then just a few months later, my father passed away. And so it was kind of like a time of big upheaval for my mom and my brothers and I, because, you know, we just lost 2 major important members of our family. And so if anything had been going on after that, I didn't know if there was any more paranormal things going on, because I wasn't paying attention, because we were so wrapped up in funerals, and, you know, we had to make all the plans for them. And so it was a real turbulent time for us. And then a month after my father passed away, pardon?
Oh, I just said right.
I'm sorry.
Listening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm like, but no. Yeah, my father passed a month after he passed away. My mom and I bought a new phone because we used to have those analog tapes, and they came out with these brand new digital voicemail machines with a handheld phone. So we bought one because we thought, hey, we're going to be cool. We're going to be like one of the first people in our whole neighborhood to have one of these really cool machines. So we got that, and we, you know, just got it all set up, and we were really excited to see when we got our first message. And when we went shopping, we came home, our light was blinking, and we were all excited. Hey, first call. And we pressed play, and it was just static, like the white noise kind of a sound. And we thought my brother's butt dialed us, because that's when we still had the cell phones that you put in your pocket, and it would automatically dial somebody because they had the buttons instead of just, you know, where you could turn them on and off. And they always used to say stupid things, or they'd be talking about stupid things with their friends, and we would just laugh hysterically whenever we would listen to them butt dial us. So we wanted to listen to the message, and so we listened through the white noise, waiting to see if we heard them say something silly in the air. And then we heard something that literally just that was the end of everything. That was the end of all skepticism. It was the end of everything that I thought I knew about what ghosts really were, which was nothing. It was just silly ghost stories. I heard my father's voice on a machine. We never had this kind of a machine before. It's the first digital machine we ever had. So it's not like it was imprinted on a piece of tape or it had been just kind of bleeding through after years and years of using it. It was brand new. So it wasn't an imprint, but it was my father's voice as clear as day coming through the white noise. All of a sudden it just kind of dissipated. And my father was saying, I love you. And then there was a second voice, another male voice, and it said, there's the light, let's, and then it cuts out. And then after that, all paranormal activity that had been happening in our home was over. And the only thing that I can think of when I look at all the evidence, when I look at the call that my father made, and my mom heard it, my brothers came home, and we didn't tell them who it was. We just said, listen to this. What do you hear? They heard my father's voice. And then they heard the second voice that we didn't recognize. The only thing I can think is that whatever spirit might have attached itself maybe to my brother and came home from Gettysburg with him knew my father wasn't long for this world. And if this was a spirit from Gettysburg, think about how long that they've been stuck in this plane of existence, not knowing how to cross over. My dad was a very deeply religious and spiritual man. And so maybe whatever spirit had attached itself to our house thought, when he goes, he'll help me be able to leave as well. And then my dad left this final message because he was saying, we're going to be going now. And then all of a sudden there's the light and the spirit follows my dad to the other side. And that's the only explanation I could come up with after everything that I had been through. I said, I've been wrong about the paranormal all this time, and I've got to know what it is, why it is, how it is. And so I became a researcher.
I don't blame you. We only got about 30 seconds before we have to go to our break at the bottom of the hour. Did the rock stay in the house with your brother, or did he take it back to Gettysburg?
It stayed with him for a time, and then after the situation happened, he felt like possibly it would be a good idea to put it to its final rest. And so we had it blessed, and we gave it a proper burial.
Awesome. Awesome. Andrea Mesich is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking paranormal all night long. Get your questions in if you're in the chat room. It is buzzing already. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com. Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. We're talking paranormal all night long with paranormal investigator and author Andrea Mesich. Andrea, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
You warmed us up with a pretty nice story there. A little freaky story, but a nice story nonetheless.
Yeah. It has a happy ending, at least, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely it did. I want to ask you in regards to that. After that experience, why did you continue your work into the paranormal?
Well, I had spent so many years, like I said, not really believing in the paranormal. I liked ghost stories mostly because, as I said, I thought they were stupid. I thought they were silly. I always thought that it was kind of interesting to see people's reactions to paranormal stories, or what they claim were their own experiences. And I used to be the kind of person that would tear them apart and try to explain them away. I was kind of like the party pooper of the whole paranormal thing. And it literally, when I had my first experience, and I'm an adult, it's not like I was a kid who's had experiences and I grew up with this. So I had a very set belief, because I was in my 20s, my late 20s when this happened. So I had a very set belief of what the paranormal really is. And then all of a sudden, I have this experience that just flipped my world literally upside down. It flipped my belief system upside down. And I needed to figure out how it all fit together. Why did it happen to me? Well, if this is true, what else have I not believed in that is possibly true that, I always used to discount or toss aside as just silliness? I mean, I needed the answers. I'm not one of these people that just accept things at face value. I have to know why. I have to look into it. I have to delve into it. And then as I continue to do it, and I continue to try to find answers to why this happened to me, what does this mean? How does this change my view on life and my view on, whatever? I started to actually do investigations for other people that were in the same situation that I found myself in, where I went from being a complete skeptic to all of a sudden having these experiences and not knowing where to turn. And so I would go in to try to find out what was going on with them. And then I found out that I could help people. And when I found out that I could help people who are going through the same, because it's traumatic at first. My experience actually kind of opened me up and made me the person I am today. But for many, even if it's not a situation where you're dealing with something demonic or something evil, even if it's not a malicious entity, it's still very traumatic if you go from not believing in it to all of a sudden it's happening to you and you don't know where you can turn. You don't know why it's happening. It can be very scary. And so I found it very fulfilling to be able to help people and, try kind of guide them through it the way I didn't have anybody to guide me through it. Because at the time, I didn't know there was really such a thing as paranormal investigators. I thought I was just some kind of a weirdo. And then Ghost Hunters came on TV. It was just the year later that it premiered on Sci-Fi. And I started watching it and realized that there were things called paranormal investigators and that people actually really did this, that this was something that people actually went and did to help other people and to research. And I said, this is what I want to do. This is me. This is how I feel. Watching this, I feel like I have found what I was meant to do. I think maybe this whole entire experience was calling me to come into this field and to help other people. And that's why I continue to do it even today.
You getting into this, did it feel like it was natural Did it feel like it was something you were supposed to do, or was it about the curiosity because of what happened with Dad?
I honestly think, I don't believe that anything happens coincidentally. I'm one of these people who I believe everything kind of happens for a reason. Even if it's not evident at the time, it eventually will click and say, oh, that's why. And so I really think that everything happened because it was meant to happen in this way. I was meant to become a paranormal investigator. I was meant to help people. I was meant to kind of move from paranormal investigations to demonology and to kind of expand my vocation to a very specialized thing. And so I really believe that this was a calling, and it just took something like a fire under my butt to kind of, get me to jumpstart and say, oh yeah, duh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because I spent so many years of my younger life saying, well, what do I believe? What do I think? What am I supposed to do with myself? Why don't I feel fulfilled? Why don't I feel like I'm doing something that, is meaningful? Why do I feel like I'm in a rat race? And then all of a sudden, after this experience, it just clicked, and suddenly I felt like I had a purpose, and I felt like I was where I needed to be, and I felt like this was my vocation. This was something I needed to do spiritually for myself as a Catholic, that, this was, I am going to be helping people, and I'm going to be, so this was kind of like something I think was meant to be, and I think this was just, the first experience was meant to kind of push me to where I needed to go and kind of guide me there.
I think we all have to have that push. We all have to have that, that instance in order to really grasp the fact of the paranormal. And I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit here, because one of the things, we had Ross Allison on from Spooked in Seattle, and he's been on a number of TV shows. He works closely with David Weatherly, and they have a haunted book series out. Great guy, great investigator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And him and David are actually sitting down with a number of people who are high profile in this field. And they've had enough of the paranormal, the jokes, the poor investigations, the ruining of areas, the over-investigation of areas, so on and so forth. And instead of talking about it where everybody's crying the whole para-unity crap, they're going to do something about it and maybe try and come up with some sort of rules, guidelines, or association/society to kind of bring the paranormal together and try and establish what people should be looking for. Do you think that the field, I mean, not everybody's going to sign up for that, but do you think that the field is ready for something like that?
Personally, I don't know if it's ready for it, but I do think it's necessary. I have gotten the nickname over the years of the cleaner, and it's not a nickname I truly enjoy. The cleaner is basically, I come in after these I call them joy for, they're doing it just for the fun of it. These joy for groups go into people's homes, and they make all these big claims like, I can sage this place, and you're going to be rid of all these spirits, and we're going to come this, and we're going to rile them up and force them to talk to us, and we're going to antagonize them, and we're going to do all this. And then they leave after they've stirred everything up and made everything far worse than it already was for the people involved. And then they go to the next, fun. They go off to have their entertainment while they leave these real people who are dealing with a really traumatic experience for them to pick up the pieces. And now what they're experiencing may be even a little bit worse, because they came in and they agitated. They tried to be Zach Bagans and, trying to be the tough guy, agitating and aggravating the spirits and challenging them. And because they don't have to live with the consequences after the fact. It's the people who live in the home that has to deal with the consequence. And then I have to come in, and then it's already to the point where it's bad, and it's made worse. And then I have to come in and I have to clean up after the mess of certain groups. And it's not all the paranormal, groups. I've dealt with many, many, many wonderful, fantastic people, fantastic groups, who call me in because of my years of experience, and, or maybe, because I'm Catholic and I work on the demonology side and they don't, and maybe they need extra help and they call me in, and it's a great experience. But a lot of times, because of paranormal entertainment, they see, like, the shows are getting more gimmicky. The shows are getting more like, we can catch this spirit in this glass window. We can just catch its reflection and then it's trapped. Or, it's getting to be where they're getting gimmickier and gimmickier. And then people are trying to one up in another, and they're trying to, I've seen people make stuff up. They're just pulling things out of their tushes. They're making up theories about what, like, let's say demons. They're making up, like, there's things that we've accepted over years of research about what demons are. Demons are inhuman spirits. Well, suddenly this one guy decided, hey, demons are now anything. A human spirit can become a demon. An animal spirit can become a demon. Everything can become a demon because I say so. And I'm going to put a little, copyright by that so nobody else can use that. And because they want to try to be the next famous person to get a television show, and they're not doing it for the right reasons. And it's gotten out of control in certain places because they forget they're dealing with real people, and they're dealing with people who are suffering real trauma, and they're looking for real help and not just people who are trying to make a name for themselves. And, I don't think I would be against maybe a coalition to try to rein things in and to try to bring things, bring some calm to the paranormal field to remind us all of why we are truly here. And it's not to try to be the next big thing on Destination America. It's not to try to be, entertainment. We're not entertainers. We are people that are trying to help and trying to learn and trying to push the field further. We're not trying to make things up as we go along, just so that we could get noticed and we can make a name for ourselves. So I personally don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know if the paranormal world is ready for it, which was your question, but I do think that it might be necessary. And I definitely probably join up for that too.
A lot of times on this type of programming, we talk about extremes, whether it's paranormal, UFOs, or whatever.
Yeah.
And getting with the paranormal, when I look at the fact that there is no rule book, there is no guidelines, it is really an anarchist role of jungle warfare and ghost hunting out there. And it's ugly. I mean, I was on my ghost tour, and I had a local psychic lady decide to cross over a spirit that never wanted to be crossed over in the first place. Caused a whole lot of problems on my tour. I had to shut down a building, and, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to get people out because of safety. And people just tend to take things and put it in their own hands. And I think it's dangerous. And the way I look at it is the way people are rogue in here. How long until someone, pulls a gun on an investigation? How long until someone gets shot or there is a real big problem in the paranormal field? And then all of a sudden the government says, you know what? That's it. We're going to regulate this whether you like it or not. And that's just the way it's going to be. I mean, it sounds foolish. And it slows
down research.
Yeah, it sounds foolish, but, it may happen if it gets out of hand. Do you think it's at the point where it's gotten out of the hand the most, and we're on a decline now because the popularity of television shows are going down and people are getting bored and moving on to the next thing? Or do you think we haven't reached that peak?
I think we're kind of at the top where we're teetering, because the paranormal entertainment is losing its, there's paranormal books aren't as popular as they used to be because people just aren't buying them and reading them anymore. And paranormal shows have gotten so gimmicky that they're no longer paranormal reality, and it's now paranormal entertainment. And people used to love paranormal reality. They loved ghost hunters when ghost hunters were still going to real homes and helping people with real issues. And it wasn't always paranormal, that sometimes there were natural explanations, or sometimes they couldn't explain it and they couldn't gather the evidence. They liked the reality of it. But now I think it's gotten so gimmicky, and there's so much fighting among paranormal groups to try to get noticed so that they can be the next person on YouTube or Amazon or on Destination America, which is the only station that's even really hearing paranormal shows anymore. There's like Sci-Fi is pretty much done with it, and the Travel Channel really doesn't want to talk about it unless they've already worked with you. And so it's Destination America is really it, because it's just not as popular anymore, because those who watch it are getting burnt out from how gimmicky it's gotten. So we're kind of at the point where some people are moving on and they're no longer supporting the paranormal field. And that's kind of getting the people that want to be famous kind of out of it, because they're like, well, if nobody's going to watch us, then what's the point anymore? And it's bringing more serious researchers back into the field. But I don't think we are there yet. I think that there are still enough people that are interested that makes it worth the time of those who maybe are not in it for the right reasons to continue to stay in it to try to make a name for themselves. So I think we're kind of still on that precipice where we're not ready to quite fix ourselves yet, but I don't think we're so bad where the government's going to come and take over, at this time. I don't think anybody's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, pulling guns on, investigations and, things like that. So I think we're still okay on that aspect personally. But we are in kind of like a dangerous zone where we could fall in either direction, where we could go back where it just gets completely out of control, or where we start to bring sanity back into the field and we get back to what the field was meant to be about.
And I agree with you on that, and I hope for that, but I mean, you have to think about the extremes because there are extreme people out there.
You got to protect yourself. Yeah.
And we also know that there are people, Andrea, that no matter rule book or not, or laws or not, they're going to do their own thing because they've been doing their own thing for a long time.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if, let's say, David Weatherly and Ross Allison's group came up to you and said, Andrea, give us a couple things that you would like to see in this book. You've got 15 years experience, we know your background, we know you're credible. What are a couple of things that you would like to see transformed in the field of paranormal, and why?
Oh boy, that's so hard to say, because I think the main thing that gets me upset about the paranormal in this day is the drama. It's become a soap opera. And people have forgotten what we were here to do. We are here to try. I mean, it's going to take a long time before we find enough answers that are going to make the scientific community happy. And I don't know if we'll do it in my lifetime or in my nieces and nephews' lifetimes or their kids' lifetime. I don't know. But that's the whole goal, is to try to find answers to the paranormal and help people along the way. That's the biggest thing, is when we first had our first experiences, we need to remember how we felt when that happened. And for most of us, if you talk to any credible paranormal investigator, it wasn't an exciting, like, oh my God, this is so cool, we got to go in and antagonize and agitate all these spirits so that we could get more experiences. It was traumatic for a lot of people. It was scary. It was traumatic. It turned your world upside down. It made you rethink everything that you believe in. And we want to help people that are in the situation that we used to be in. We got to stop the drama. We got to stop this. Oh, the para-unity is just, let's forget about the para-unity thing. Let's just get back to doing what we were supposed to do in the first place. We're not here to coddle each other and to build each other up so that we could become more popular. We are here literally to help people. We are here to try to find answers. We are not here necessarily to be famous, or we're not here to try to one-up each other. We're not here to try to, I don't know how many times I've encountered investigators where I say, hey, what's this new equipment you're using? I've never seen that before. Or how do you use it? Well, this is just a secret of ours. This is a secret. This is just for us. We're not going to tell you because we're using this. We're patenting this. It's like they become so where they won't share information. Well, how do we further the field of paranormal investigation and better help others if you're withholding something from other investigators because you're afraid that they're going to, make it so that you can't use it, for whatever purpose you want to make a name for yourself for? We got to get rid of the drama in the paranormal. We've got to reach out and work together to help people and to further the research. We cannot be secretive. We cannot have this mindset of, this is mine, this is only mine, this is my special technique. I'm not going to share it with anybody else. We should reach out and help each other. We should be building each other up in the way of saying, hey, you're having a tough time with that investigation. Well, I have this suggestion. Let me show you how I do this, instead of being so secretive. And that's one thing that I would think would be, it's impossible to try and force people to be open like that, but it would be nice if we could start talking more about Forget about paranormal unity and love and all this other stuff. Let's just work together to help people, because that's why we're here. This is not about being famous or making this new stuff that's going to make us a lot of money. It's about helping people, period. It's about finding answers, period. Let's get back to doing what we were supposed to do to begin with. And that's what I think as, me.
But, I mean, most people out there, Andrea, you ask them, what are you investigating and why are you doing it? They don't have clear answers. They have
no, they
zero.
don't. They don't.
We only got about a minute and a bit here before we got to go to break. But that is an issue. I mean, shouldn't there be some sort of clearly defined role of what you were trying to solve rather than, I'm sorry, prove or disprove a haunting at a location does nothing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me personally, my first thing is when it comes to research, obviously we need a clear, definitive path to try to, like, my thing is to try to be able to prove the existence of spirits or to find out are spirits, the deceased, are spirits from another plane of existence, are spirits from another spiritual realm. I mean, that is something that we do need to define, and we do need to start saying, hey, we got to start coming up with actual answers instead of just willy-nillying it. But, of course, you do want to also go into a location and say this, we want to find evidence if it's happening or not, because until we can find evidence of whether or not they have a haunting, we can't help them. But it's the after the part, like once we find out, like say, yes, definitively there is a haunting, now we need to go that step further and say, okay, but this is now what our options are. So we need to start to focus on the client, and we need to start to focus on the plot at hand and be less absorbed with ourselves and our personality and what's going to be the next big thing for us and for our quote-unquote career. Because this isn't a career. It is, for me, it's a religious vocation more than like anything else. Yeah.
I can see that. Andrea, you hold on. We are going to hop out for our break here at the top of the hour. Andrea Mesich is our guest, paranormal author and investigator. We're going to delve into women in the paranormal next hour right here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners and friends. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we get into dream interpretation with Lane Dolphin. We will get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on the SOR Radio Network and Deep Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can still check out all of our archives at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Phosphodiesterase. Phosphodiesterase is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. It's got a brand new look, so you want to check it out. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on social media about that. You can rock out to Bumblefoot soon. Shop at our brand new Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on the SOR Newswire provided by Captain Shirk, and so much more. Tonight we are talking all things paranormal with author Andrea Mesich. She's also a paranormal investigator, demonologist. Andrea, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show because, man, I could sure use a lot of dreams interpreted, I'm telling you. Oh.
You know, the only dreams I ever seem to remember are my alien abduction dreams.
Oh, yeah. See, now I have very, very, very vivid dreams, and 9 out of 10, something in the dream usually happens after I've had it. So, yeah, I tend to get a lot of weird dreams. So it'd be nice to have somebody who can interpret them. Yeah, I'm one of them.
You're one of them.
Who are them? Who are them?
Those people who have dreams that actually have premonitions in them.
Is it like one of those elite clubs? One of them. Exactly. Yeah, but no, tomorrow sounds like a good episode.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Lane Dolphin. I'm excited to have her on.
Yeah.
I want to hit you up on the fact of women in the paranormal. This is something that obviously you're very passionate about. And ghost hunting, ghost hunting has been very, very male dominated, very male oriented. Yeah. And now we're seeing women's groups pop up. We're seeing African American groups pop up, Hispanic groups pop up, First Nations groups pop up, LGBTQ groups pop up as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you right up with it. Should it matter? Should it matter that there's all these different groups popping up from different ethnicities, or are we starting to try to politicize the paranormal investigation a little too much?
Me personally, I guess it kind of depends. Like, are they together because they know each other, or are they specifically together because, like, for example, if it's an all-women's group, do they choose that because they're all women? Or the LGBTQ, did they choose that because they're all LGBTQ? I mean, if you're starting to pick people out just solely based on sex, gender, sexual orientation, race, I mean, then we're starting to kind of get a little bit political, and we're kind of losing what the heart of the paranormal is about. If it's just a bunch of people that just happen to know each other and happen to be all women and happen to be friends, and they make a group because they've got a passion for it, that's one thing. But if you're actively seeking, like, hey, I want to make a group that's all LGBTQ because then, it's going to look like, really interesting. It's going to make people interested in us. Then that's getting to be a little bit too much. I think you just do it because you have a passion for it, and find other people who have a passion for it. It doesn't matter what their race or gender or religion is. It should just matter that they're in it for the right reasons, and that they're in it because they have a passion for not only finding answers, but for helping people. But I mean, because we've all been around, there've been women in the paranormal for years and years and years. I mean, look at, for example, Lorraine Warren, who she and her husband, Ed Warren, they've been very synonymous with the paranormal since way, way back before the paranormal became the mainstream thing that it is today. So there have been women in the paranormal for many, many years. There have been African-American paranormal investigators for many, many years, LGBTQ paranormal investigators for many, many years. I think the difference is paranormal entertainment hasn't caught up with that as of yet. The paranormal entertainment is not really focusing on the reality of paranormal. They've gone from paranormal reality to, this is just what we see in the paranormal, and everything else is we're kind of blind to. And so people are thinking, well, this is what the paranormal is. So if we get all these groups together, we're going to be something special and something that's going to be noticed. And the reality of the situation is we've already been here for a lot longer. You guys are not doing anything special because we've been here for many years, even before these paranormal shows have been out there. So you may think you're doing something cool. You may think you're doing something, you're political. You may think you're doing something that nobody's ever done before, but it probably has been done. We're just not shouting it from the rooftops like, some people are trying to get their own shows and whatnot. So, again, I think we've been around for a long time. LGBTQ has been around for a long time. We women have been around for a long time. African-American and Hispanic investigators have been around for a long time. It's just all of a sudden we've been so ignored for so long by the media that people think they're being special by trying to find all of these different groups to try to make a name for themselves. And they don't realize that it's already been done. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of where I am.
But the way the social justice warriors are out there, and I'm not trying to turn this into a political show, but I mean, this is reality of the situation. The way there's a lot of people out there, the I'm offended crowd has to make a stance and politicize absolutely everything these days. And granted, we haven't seen it much in the paranormal, but is it an issue, or is this one of these issues that has been swept under the rug, or do paranormal people even care if you're a woman, you're trans, you're gay, you are a lesbian, you are Black, Hispanic, First Nations? Does the paranormal care?
I think paranormal entertainment cares, but I think in general, like real paranormal investigators don't. I mean, I'm a straight woman and I'm a Catholic, but I've actually worked with, other people from other belief systems, like I said, I'm a straight woman. I've worked with someone who is gay. And, I'm a white woman. I've worked with people from different races. We don't care. I don't give a crap, who you are or where you are, sexually or religiously. I want to know are you interested in the paranormal? Do you have, a interest of helping other people? Do you think you could use what I believe as a Catholic? Do you think because you're not a Catholic, maybe I have a different perspective you don't have? Are you open to hearing about that? If you are, great, I'll work with you. We in the paranormal field who are truly in it for the right reasons, we don't care about what you do in your personal life. I don't care. I want to know, are you in it for the right reasons? Do you need my help? Do you have something maybe I don't know that maybe I haven't thought of because you're living in a different walk of life than I am, and maybe you have different thoughts and theories than I do? Help me with that. Give them to me and let's talk about it. That's how we are in the paranormal field. Paranormal entertainment is a completely different situation. Paranormal entertainment, I don't think, has caught up to it. Without going into any details, because obviously I'm not trying to start any kind of a fight, but I had this idea for a paranormal show that I thought it would show what paranormal really truly is behind all of this drama and behind all of this gimmicks and trying to one up each other. It was a really good idea to not only, show the reality of paranormal reality, but to also help get the audience kind of involved and to kind of understand better. And I approached a couple different production companies, and they all told me it was, it's an interesting idea, but it wouldn't play out. It's an interesting idea, but I just don't think it's the right idea. All of a sudden, a year later, I saw one of the production companies that I had pitched it to was coming out with almost the exact same thing I had pitched to them, only it was an all-male cast. What I had pitched to them would have been, a more, kind of a variety. Like there was a couple of us girls, and then there was a couple of guys, and there was, but it was more girls than guys because it was people that I've worked with in the past. And some of these girls were very, very, very good investigators, very strong investigators. And I thought that, we would make a great team to really show what paranormal reality is. They're doing a very similar thing. I don't know if the show actually ever took off or not. I know it was advertised. I think it was supposed to either be on Amazon or Destination America. I'd never really followed up with it. But it was the same thing that I had pitched, all men. And so it kind of shows you that they're still having this straight line thinking about the paranormal entertainment industry, and they're still not quite willing to let strong female leads come in and show people how it's done. They don't want us, because I don't think they see paranormal as feminine. They don't see women as being strong investigators, as being the lead investigators yet, unless they're paired up with a guy, and the guy is a very kind of a strong, outspoken kind of a guy, and then she's more of the soft psychic type. Like, they're looking for females who are, sensitive, have more of a psychic ability. Then they kind of do that pairing. But a strong female investigator who takes the lead still seems to be too much for them. So I think in the paranormal world, we don't give a crap about, your sexual orientation, your race, your religion. We don't care as long as you're willing to work with us and have an open mind about how we believe. And then we'll have an open mind about how you believe, and we could try to work together. Paranormal entertainment, they still haven't caught up to that. So I think that's where we are at this time.
Well, let me ask you this. Out of all the times that you have been ghost hunting, as a woman, do you feel you get more responses because women, let's face it, are a little bit more compassionate, you're a little bit more giving, a little bit more loving and caring than the majority of men out there? But response-wise, how do you feel it is?
Response-wise, to tell you the truth, I don't think anybody can say with 100% certainty that it would be one way or the other, because it's all about personality. In my opinion, spirits are just like us. They have their own personalities. They have what they are attracted to. They have what they like. They have what they think they can manipulate for the more malicious spirits. They know what they can go after. They know what they can stand up to. For example, in one investigation that I went to, the spirit that happened to be inhabiting was a very malicious spirit, and the one thing that he seemed to hate the most were independent and strong women. And that would be the first type of woman that he would attack. And of course, I got attacked while I was there. And that was just the personality of the spirit. That spirit did not like strong, independent women who would stand up to it. In another investigation there was a more feminine spirit. We kind of there was a spirit of a woman, and she was always interacting with the real young men. Like whether they're anybody under the age of 40, she would just be all over them, like, molasses on pancakes. And so they would have more experiences than the women in the group would have, because she would be more interested in them. So I think it's more of a personality thing rather than a feminine versus masculine thing. I think it all depends on your personality and how that spirit reacts to your personality. And sometimes that kind of calls for you to change things. Like if we have to go back several times, if I know that the soft, sweet, and demure isn't working, then I will try to be a little bit tougher, and try to find the personality that's going to get the reaction. So I don't necessarily think it's man versus woman gets more than the other. I think it's just a matter of their personality versus the personalities that are available to them to interact with.
And you see, at my museum where I do our paranormal tours to raise money for the museum, we get way more action with our female investigators than we do our male. But I have a feeling that's because we're on the Gold Rush Trail, and it was a very masculine time back then. So to see beautiful women, you know, in the middle, you know, trying to communicate with them, that's probably a little bit of a turn on for these spirits that are hanging around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that female spirit who'd always stick to the younger men and always seem to attract and interact with the younger men in one of the investigations. It's their personality. It's more of the personality of the spirit than it is the personality of the person. If a spirit likes somebody, it's going to interact with you regardless of what sex you are. If it doesn't like your personality, you might either get nothing or negative interactions. So I think, like, if you're working in a place where there was a lot of masculinity, then yes, the females would definitely get more interaction, just because, you know, they're men that like women, you know. So I think that's more of a case than just the fact that they're women. I don't think the fact that they're women necessarily means that they'll get, you know, anything immediately. I think it's more of depends on the spirit, the personality of the spirit, and then the personality, and if they mesh together. Because I've been on many investigations. I'm a woman, and yet I've gone on investigations where I have gotten nothing. And yet another girl will come in, maybe she's younger and cuter than I am, and all of a sudden there'd be like activity up the wazoo. So I think it's all dependent on personality and not necessarily the sex of the investigator.
So is there, outside of the television shows, a place where women or minorities would be, how can I put this, where they would be in a place where they are more comfortable, like going to, say, a reservation, if you're First Nations, which many of them are very haunted, okay, or maybe a female, an all-female hospital or asylum. Would that cater to responses then, you think, with these different groups?
It like I said, it's all dependent upon where you're going and who you have with you and whether or not it's going to, because I could go, let's say I'm Croatian. So let me say I go to Croatia, into one of the most haunted areas of Croatia. Just because I am a woman and I'm Croatian, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to all of a sudden have all these Croatian spirits trying to interact with me. And, you know, maybe one of my friends who actually happens to be Irish, let's say, and she goes, and all of a sudden she has all these experiences, and her husband is Japanese, and he goes with her, and he has all these experiences. But me, as a Croatian, going into this Croatian place, I have no experiences. It doesn't really, I don't think it necessarily works that way. I think it's a lot of who they choose, who they feel safe communicating with, or who they think, like in a case of a malicious spirit, I think that person is weaker and I could get at that person. I can get into their head. So I'm going to go after that person specifically. So I think it's more of the personality than the sex or the nationality or anything like that when it comes to, I mean, it doesn't necessarily hurt. Like if you're going into, say, an all women's hospital where, you know, they kept like female patients, like the female ward back in the days when they'd separate the males from the females, and, you know, like in the tuberculosis wards or in the poorhouses, then, you know, if you have like a female investigative group and they go into that, then yeah, maybe they will get some more activity. It doesn't necessarily mean they will. It doesn't necessarily mean they get the activity just because they're women trying to communicate with, you know, fellow women. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. And that's why this isn't exactly a science yet, because there's so much that is still unknown that we need to explore. And that might be something that is a good theory to work out. Couple different groups working together that say, okay, you know what, we're going to gather in this group, you know, you women here, you're going to go in here. We're going to gather the evidence, and then you're going to leave. And then this new group of men are going to go in, and the men are going to go in, see what they can gather, and then let's compare. Did the women get more? Did the men get more? We need to kind of start working together to try to find those answers. We need to work as groups and say, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to try these little experimentations, and we're going to see, So I think that we're still not at that stage where we can say definitively, hey, a woman is going to get more activity simply because she's nurturing and she's softer and she's kinder and she's more open to the paranormal than a man is. I don't think we're quite there where we can say that definitively. So I think a lot more research needs to be done in order to find those answers.
We have about 2.5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. And I'm curious in regards to this. Is it making a mountain out of a molehill then in regards to women? Because I could tell you right now, Lorian Fenton and Melinda Leslie have been all over a lot of UFO conferences out there for being more male-dominated and male-oriented. But up until the last 25 years or so, in reality, it's been the majority of men who have been investigating. Not saying that there isn't brilliant women in this field. Oh, yeah. But because there is.
Ufology is a little different. I think ufology is more male-dominated. I think with the paranormal, you will see more female, and more females are more widely accepted, except for when it comes to demonology. Demonology, it gets a little tougher for us. I don't think it's making a mountain out of a molehill per se. I think entertainment-wise, we're not fairly represented, but I don't think a lot of things in paranormal are fairly represented. It's not just women in the field. It's not just, minorities in the field. I just think there's a lot that's not represented, but it's entertainment. It's not reality. So there's not much that we can do about that. But I think there still are strides to go because of paranormal reality shows where it's so male-dominated. People have a hard time accepting women. Like when we go to do lectures they're always wondering, well, by what authority do you have? Because they think that we need a man as the authoritative figure to tell us, well, this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. They don't realize that, forget about what you see on TV. That's not reality. The reality is there are just as many women in the field as men, if not more, and many of us are leaders and many of us are top voices in the field when it comes to talking about the paranormal. And so that's a hurdle that we need to get over. As for the field itself, we're pretty good where we are because, like I said, we've been here for a long time and we've been accepted for a long time. It's getting over the preconceptions from other people that are on the outside looking into the paranormal field because all they see is what they see on TV. And TV is not a fair representation. So then they have a harder time accepting us because they don't see us being represented in that kind of a leadership role.
Yeah, I could see that. Because even in the early days of Ghost Hunters, I don't believe there was any women. It was just 4 men.
No. It was just the men and Ghost Hunters, yeah.
Yeah, and then they added Amy Bruni and I forget the other lovely lady's name.
But they weren't in leadership roles. They weren't.
True.
They were part of the team. That people have a hard time looking at us as the leaders of groups or the leaders of the field because they don't see us being represented. Yeah.
Andrea, right there, we're going to step out for our break here on Spaced Out Radio. We've crossed the halfway point. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Welcome back to Space Out Radio tonight. We've passed the halfway point of the show. Andrea Mesich is our guest tonight, paranormal author and investigator, along with demonologist. She wears a plethora of paranormal hats. Andrea, welcome back.
And they're very pretty hats. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there who's celebrating Thanksgiving.
You know what I find
happy
funny?
Black Friday.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get pumped up on Black Friday again, so I got to keep it calm. But you know what? You know what I find funny is mostly everybody out there knows I'm Canadian, and I broadcast from Canada. And I think it's really cool when people like my messages get flooded every American Thanksgiving, wishing me a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm like, gives me a chance to say, you're a month and a half late, but I'll take it. Oh. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Because you know what? Even though they know I'm Canadian and they don't know where the Canadian Thanksgiving is, and don't worry, most Canadians forget about it anyways. Not really, because we get a day off for it. But it's just the thought. What I love about it is that people care enough to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. That's what's meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and we're thankful for you, even if you are a little bit further to the north. We're still thankful you're here. We're thankful for Spaced Out Radio.
Oh, I'm always thankful for
See what I did there?
I see what you did there. That was beautiful. I'm going to give you a couple of claps for that. Andrea, over 15 years, you must have a story or two that has really stuck out for you and just been ingrained in your memory. Maybe it's back to what, I mean, this is the one since, or story since what happened in your house with your father. Do you have any stories that you could share with our audience that really, really made an impact on you?
Well, there's actually a couple. I mean, in brief, I could tell you about the first time I ever got attacked by a spirit. It was at the schoolhouse that I was investigating, and we were all sitting in what was called the coal room. It's in the basement, and it's where they used to do the old-timey where they'd scoop coal into the furnace to keep everything warm. And a lot of bad stuff allegedly happened there. And I haven't seen like actual proof of different claims, but there were a lot of claims about very bad things that happened in that particular place. And we were gathered, and this was kind of like more of a tour than just a plane investigation. So there was a bunch of people I didn't know that were there just to experience it and to learn more about paranormal investigations and to see this haunted place. And so we were all sitting inside the cool room on our little seats, and it was kind of spooky because they have all their Halloween decorations they store in there. So there's these very large, lifelike clown masks, and I think there was like a Michael Myers standing in the corner, and it was, so it had kind of a creepy vibe already, and to me that's cool because I just kind of love that creepy stuff. I've always been a horror movie fan, and I'm one of those that just don't get scared really by anything except it. It was literally the only horror movie that ever scared me as a kid, even though now I look back and it's just ridiculous, the 90s version. So, I thought it was a pretty cool place, but I could see other people were kind of nervous, and I was just kind of chuckling as I'm looking at all these like wide-eyed, I called them green behind the ears, non-investigators. They were just there because they were curious and not because they've ever experienced the paranormal. And as I'm sitting there and, and I'm just listening to one of the people just kind of give a history of the place and kind of explain about the place, I literally felt what felt like 4 pressure points on one side of my neck and 1 pressure point on the other side of my neck. So you're literally feeling like 4 fingers and a thumb, because if you look at your hand and you put your hand around your neck, you have 4 pressure points and then 1 pressure point where your thumb is. And then as I felt that, I suddenly felt like a squeezing. And then I was having trouble breathing. And then I was having trouble swallowing, and it was getting tighter and tighter, like literally something was clenching my throat. And I could feel the marks on, the pressure points on my neck getting tighter and tighter and just digging into my skin. And my face must have gone completely white because someone turned to me and asked if I was okay. And I didn't want to freak anybody out, because I knew immediately that if something was attacking me and I made notice to it, that it was going to go after someone else. So I just silently said, yeah, just nodded yes. And then they went back to what they were doing as I continued to have really, really hard time breathing because it was choking harder and harder. And I just started making the sign of the cross on my knee and just saying a prayer in my head, doing the Our Father in my head, making the sign of the cross on my knee. And then I said, after I said my prayer, I said, you have to let go. And that's it. I said, you have to let go in my head. Yeah, I didn't say it out loud because I didn't want to freak anybody out, but slowly it started to let go. And then I noticed that the entire mood in the room changed. Everybody just kind of started to look very pale. So I just kind of said, just to see, I said, does anybody notice a heaviness in this room? And this one girl said, yes, I feel like I'm having a hard time breathing all of a sudden. It feels like something's choking me. And so then I went up to her and I made the sign of the cross, and whatever it was let go. And she and her husband got up and they ran from that room. They ran up the stairs out of the basement. They ran to their car. They got in their car. They left and they never came back because this was a 2-day event and we were only on day 1. They never returned. That experience, that was it for them. They were done after that. And later in that evening, when we came back and did an investigation, one of the other investigators said, why did you go after the 2 women in the room? Do you have a problem with women? And we captured an EVP that was just this most disgusting, vile, evil-sounding laugh, almost as if he thought it was funny that, he did that to us. And I was left with 4 marks on one side of my throat and 1 small mark on the other side of my throat. Just these little tiny bruises they were very faint and they went away by the next morning. But you could see what was left over from the very first time I'd ever gotten physically attacked by a spirit in that particular place.
A lot of people cannot handle the physical attacks. They have issues with it, whether they're eyewitness to it or that it actually happens to them. Yeah. Andrea, how did you keep your mind, body, and soul clear of that so that way you felt it was okay to go back again?
Well, for one thing, I guess it's kind of weird for me to say, but I guess maybe it's that I don't have that natural fear that other people have. Where it didn't really scare me. It just kind of more made me a little bit more upset, like, how dare you do that to me? And it was also when I was in the moment, my thought was, I don't want this to happen to somebody else. Keep it to yourself and fight it internally so that it doesn't latch onto somebody else. You know, and my mode was automatically trying to keep everybody else in the room safe. And then when I decided to go back, it wasn't because it didn't scare me. It didn't scare, because to me that was the goal. Its goal was to keep me away, because for some reason it didn't like me. It probably didn't like the fact that I wasn't scared. It didn't like the fact that I was a stronger woman. It didn't like the fact that I was not kind of like doing the typical screaming and running away like the other girl did. It didn't like me for some reason, and I wasn't going to let that stop me from doing what I came there to do, which was to learn and to research and to study. And this was one of the places that I really had wanted to study for a long time, and I wasn't about to just get up and run away like a scared little girl. And once I get that kind of a thought into my head, you just can't stop me. I just barrel forth. I don't even care. So I think my problem, and I think that it's not necessarily a good thing, but I just don't seem to have that natural fear of the paranormal that other people have. That, they say, I don't like this, I'm leaving. Whereas I say, I'm going to stay because I'm going to see this out. And it's not going to scare me away. I don't have that apprehension. I don't have that fear of, because I think maybe for me personally, being Catholic and believing in God and believing in Christ and believing in angels, I know that there's a greater power than anything in this world and anything in the world of the demonic and anything in the spiritual world, whether it's just a malicious human spirit or good human spirit or anything. I know that there's something greater, and I know that I'm protected as long as I trust in them. And that whatever's going to happen is, God is going to see me through it. And maybe that's why I just don't have that natural fear, because I put my trust in God. And that's where I have all of my faith. And so maybe because of that, I'm not scared. So I don't know what it is. I just don't get afraid like other people seem to get afraid, and where it affects them deeply and keeps them from coming back and kind of traumatizes them. So sometimes it can be a benefit, sometimes not.
I want to get to Tripp's question in the chat room. He says, Andrea, your experience is why it's so hard for many people to accept anything paranormal. You have an excellent experience, yet you didn't tell anybody to film, take pics, or audio. Afterwards, unfortunately, it's just a story.
For which thing though? Because like my first experience, obviously I didn't even know about paranormal investigation the first time. And is he talking about at the first word?
Yeah, the story you just shared.
Well, yeah, the first word school. Well, for me, that's a completely different situation because I wasn't there necessarily it wasn't a true investigation. I wasn't there with people that I knew. I wasn't there with a team. I wasn't there. I was there by myself among other people who had come in. Most of them weren't even investigators. They were just people that were there because it was a fundraiser for the most part. And they had like Ben Hansen from Fact or Faked had come in, and he gave a lecture and he did some of the investigations with us. I do have EVPs. I do have pictures and audio recordings, and there are videos, and I talk about it in my book, Ghost in the Coal Cellar. There's a whole chapter that was dedicated to this and to the evidence that I did collect while I was there. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here. I don't have the evidence like here where I can have you like turn it over to you and you can put it on the computer and you can press play, and we don't have that, editing capability here on live radio. But in that particular situation, there is evidence, and I do document it in the book Ghost in the Coal Cellar, and I am going to be documenting it in a future book coming up as well. But in that particular case, it wasn't a full investigation. It was more of me going there to try to learn a little bit more about the location, to try to see, what kind of experiences they were having, to talk to the people who were having experiences, and to, and I was with, just like I said, a whole bunch of random people that I didn't know other than Ben Hansen from the show Fact or Faked. And that was the first time I had ever actually met him in person as well. So it wasn't like I knew him and we were investigating together. So it wasn't a normal situation where I would, literally have like cameras placed up in different rooms, and I'd have everything set up the way I want it to be set up. So that is why there's not that particular, cameras and all that. And I wasn't about to like say to this random girl who's never been an investigator in her life, she's just there because she was curious, and say, hey, can you start videotaping me because I think I'm being physically attacked by a spirit? I know from experience that's not something you blurt out loud to people who are not fellow investigators. You don't just blurt something like that out, especially in that kind of a situation. You have to know when it's appropriate. You have to know when it's not appropriate. And I knew in the situation that I was in, being vocal and drawing attention to myself was not appropriate. And that's why, that's a story. And if people don't want to buy into that, that's fine. My purpose is not to make you believe. My purpose is to document my experiences, to try to find the answers to my experiences, to try to find what caused it, why it was, and to go through my own scenario to try to find my own answers. And then once I have my own answers, which could take a very, very long time if I ever find true answers for myself, then I give them to you, and then you do with them what you will. You use those experiences, you use the theories that I've come up with, and then you put them into your own practice and see if you agree with them, or if something else makes you disagree with them. The rest is up to you. But in that situation, you may think it's just a story. There are some EVPs and other things to back it up, but that was not a situation where I'm going to sit there with cameras, and because that was not my rodeo. That was not my paranormal investigation. That was a completely different situation outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about, we only got about 6 minutes here before we got to go to break. Do you have another quick story you could share with us?
A quick story, I suppose one thing that I could tell is, one very interesting thing was I was doing an investigation for a family, and it seemed like the father and then the children were having experiences, except for one child. One child was literally left out in the cold when it came to experiences. She never had, any kind of interaction with any spirits. She knew that her family and her dad were having these experiences, and she believed them. She just never had any personal experiences herself. So I went in, and this is a time when I did have recorders, and I had all the equipment, and I had everything all set up. And I asked very specifically, what is it that keeps you from interacting with this one particular child? And everyone in the family except for her. Is there something that blocks you from her? Is there something that kind of like a psychic block, or does she have someone protecting her on the other side? Is there a reason you don't interact with her? Then you can hear clear as day on an EVP something whisper very closely to the microphone of the recorder, I don't want her. And then you can hear me reacting because something happened to one of the equipment. One of the pieces of equipment I had started to light up very strongly. And that was immediately after you hear the voice, I don't want her. So I think that was kind of a very odd situation where we had a malicious spirit that had been causing havoc to an entire family except for one particular girl. And the reason she wasn't having any experiences is because specifically the spirit says, I don't want her. And that opened up a whole can of worms, in my opinion. And I think that is actually very interesting because it kind of shows you that there's an intelligence and there's a thought process behind the paranormal that we still don't have a grasp on. And that's what can make it equally as dangerous as it is, interesting or exciting or fun for some people. It can be somewhat dangerous because there are so many unknown answers, and we can't go into this thinking that we're 100% safe at all times, that this is just benign, nothing's going to happen to us. There are things that we don't know, and we need to be very careful. That answer told me that. When it said, nothing's happening to her because I don't want her, that just proves that there's an intelligence that we don't understand. And so we have to be very respectful when we're in this field, no matter what kind of a spirit we think we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. When you're dealing with something that you're just not getting a fix on, and it sounds like this was something like that, how do you manage the game in order to try and find the answers you need? Because you have just the evidence that you have to go by.
Well, when we have in a situation like that, like when we have the EVPs and we have the personal experiences of the different investigators that come in, and we have the stories from the family that are having the situation, we have to decide from there, how far do we want to keep pushing this to get more answers, or what does the family ultimately want done? And of course, in this situation, the family ultimately wanted whatever it was there gone. It needed it to be gone. And that's when we go into okay, this is what we're going to try to do mode. And that's when we start to bring in different types of, I call it the different weapons in our arsenal, but really what it is like for me as a demonologist, I work, and as a Catholic, I work with a lot of Catholic priests around the country when it comes to cleansings or demonic infestations, possessions, things like that. And so the first thing that I would do would be to call the local Catholic priest, and we'd have a conversation, and I'd show him the evidence. And, we decide, does this need a blessing? Does this need a special, kind of a cleansing? Does this need, a couple times situations have gotten serious enough where a priest has actually come and done an entire mass, like said the Holy Mass right inside the house, bringing the Eucharist, which is very sacred to us Catholics, into the house and consecrating it inside the house. And, so we kind of go into that kind of a situation once we have enough evidence to know there's something there, and we have enough from the family that we know they want it out. That's when we start to go into the solving the problem and not trying to continue to, it'd be great to come in and research for years and years and years and try to come up with more answers and more answers. But the ultimate goal is to make the family feel comfortable again, make the family happy again, make the family feel safe again. And so once I have proof that there's something there, then we move on to cleansing and to getting rid of it. If I can't get the evidence that I need, sometimes I'll bring in another investigator, because maybe it's my personality that's not getting the necessary attention of the spirit. So let's try a new personality. And then if all fails, I still will maybe try to bring in a priest or a clergy member to come in and bless the home, and, to try to do, even if I can't get what I need to say definitively, yes, there is a spirit here, it doesn't hurt to come in and have somebody cleanse the home and have like a priest or a member of clergy come in and do a blessing. So.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I'm going to get you to hold on, Andrea, because we're going to hop out for our break at the top of the hour. Paranormal author and investigator Andrea Mesich is our guest. We got her for another 30 minutes here. We're going to get into demonology next on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info.
We go.
Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we get into dream interpretation with our guest, Lane Dalphin. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on the SOR Radio Network this American Thanksgiving holiday. Hopefully you are up training and ready for the boxing match tomorrow morning. Same as if you're listening in on Deep Talk Radio and Rev Radio. And don't forget, you can check all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is phosphodiets. Oh, how the hell do I butcher this after getting it right the first time? Son of a gun. Son of a gun. I'm embarrassed over this, Bill. Phosphodiesterase. I mean, who cannot say that? Phosphodiesterase is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, soon shop at our brand new Spaced Out Radio store, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Andrea Mesich. She is our guest tonight, talking all things paranormal. We're going to get into the demonology topic now. Andrea, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Can you get the demons out of Bill Cardwell's passwords?
Oh, no, but I could think of a few to put in there. I mean, if I were in charge, I'd come up with something like proclearparazine or, you know, I'd come up with like the longest word. There's actually a word that I think is like every letter of the alphabet, like used at least twice. I mean,
yeah, do not give him any hints, okay? Because my Friday, his Saturday, is hell for me. Hell for me. And now he's made my Thursdays hell for me. I don't need him getting any hints. This isn't like Monday Night Football where you just choose a night and put a game on, you know? Like, come on. Terrible. I still can't believe
Be nice to Dave.
I still can't believe phosphodiesterase. Nobody really knows what it means. Yeah. Yeah, phosphodiesterase. Nobody knows what it means, but
I do.
Kinda.
I still think I will put my money on that it is an ingredient in a diet pill. It just sounds like an ingredient in some kind of a diet pill, like lipozine or something.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I have to get it right on the first one. If I butcher the first one, I miss out. Doesn't matter how many times right I say it afterwards. It's all on the first approach. You know, you don't stick that landing, you crash. You know, that's just kind of the way it is. But anyhow, You're a demonologist as well from the Catholic faith. Are you happy that all of a sudden in the past year and a half, we don't have everybody and their dog running around saying and claiming that they are demonologists?
We still get that from time to time. I still encounter people who think they're a demonologist just because they have a sage stick in their hand, and they automatically think that because they know how to light sage that they're demonologists. But, you know, it is nice to know that a lot of the demonologists I have encountered, fellow demonologists, of which there still are not many true demonologists, they are versed. They have a theology behind what they do. They have the research behind what they do, and they look at it as a vocation rather than just, you know, something that they do. It's something that they feel they were called to do from a higher power, not necessarily Catholic, because not all demonologists are Catholic, but, you know, it is kind of nice that I've been meeting more who have a theology behind what they do. Yeah.
To me, it brought a little bit of unnecessary danger to the paranormal field.
I mean, it does bring an unnecessary. I don't think it's an unnecessary danger, because really, when you're thinking about, if you think about the paranormal itself, whether you're just an investigator or whether you're an innocent bystander who happens to come across these malicious entities, really, in the grand scheme of things, we don't know. There's so much about the paranormal that is still unknown. That's why it is paranormal. If it wasn't paranormal, it would be a science. But because there is so much that is unknown and that we cannot explain at this time, it is paranormal. And when you don't know certain things, when you can't explain certain things, there is automatically a risk there. When it comes to, like, for example, a situation, I know you know about the Perrons, probably, you know, when you're talking about the Conjuring, or the Smurls when you're talking about the Haunting, you know, all of these more infamous families that, you know, the Amityville Horror, when you're talking about, like, in that aspect, you've heard of, these families didn't go into it seeking demonic infestations. These families didn't go into seeking the paranormal. They just went to find a house where they could raise their families and just live a normal life. They didn't go in hoping, like, hey, I hope a demon comes into my home and wrecks, you know, our whole way of living for, you know, and it puts a mark on our name for the rest of our lives. I really hope that happens. You know, it just sometimes happens. So the danger is always going to be there. It's how you handle it and with what intention you go into it with. For example, the danger comes in when you have people who think that they are going to be the next Zach Bagans and are trying to get themselves possessed, or they're trying to intentionally provoke spirits without knowing, you know, what they're dealing with, and without understanding what they're dealing with, without understanding how to protect themselves. And they're putting other people at risk, you know, especially the clients at risk. So that's where that kind of got a little befuddled. But as for demonology itself, it's a vocation that's as old as time. I mean, every exorcist, every priest technically should consider themselves demonologists, every Catholic priest, because they should be learning about the demonic side, you know, because it is biblical. And so there's something that they should be, because there will be coming times where they're going to deal with people who've had demonic experiences or paranormal experiences, and they're going to have to go in and do cleansings, or with the bishop's permission, go in and do exorcisms. So this is something that's gone on for centuries, you know. So being a demonologist isn't bringing danger into the paranormal field. It's being the one to go and face the danger that's already existing in the paranormal field. And that's kind of how I look at it in that aspect.
So when you were dealing with spirit, all right, there is a big debate between what is a demon and what isn't. And I think there's a lot of confusion in the field by people who have been doing it a long time and the amateurs alike. I think there's a lot of spirits out there that know their strength, that are just upset.
Yeah.
So how do you tell the difference, Andrea?
Well, for me personally, from my experiences and from my research into the Catholic field of spirituals, when we're dealing with the human soul, and human souls can be manipulated by the demonic. They can also be just malicious because maybe they were evil people in life, but they don't have the same powers as an inhuman spirit. We look at a human soul as something that once walked the earth as a human being and still exists in this plane of existence for whatever reason, whether they're in a form of purgatory or whether they are here because they're going about continuing the evil that they did in life and they're trying to continue it in death. We don't know. We don't have those answers right now. But we believe that a human soul is something that walked the earth as human, and they have a limitation to their strength and their powers. And then we know about the inhuman. The inhuman would be like angelic or demonic. Angelic, is the good side of the inhuman. They never walked the earth as human beings, and being on a different spiritual plane, being different creations in an aspect. Humans cannot become angels. Humans cannot become demons. Demons and angels are completely separate from creation. And if you look at most of the major religions, not just Christianity, but if you look at Islam and if you look at Judaism and you look even at Buddhism in certain parts of Buddhism, demons and humans are completely separate creations. They're completely separate entities. Demons and angels never walk the earth as humans, and humans can never become demons or angels, is basically. So we're completely talking about separate creations. Because they were created on a spiritual plane, they have much greater power than a human or a mortal spirit has. And so when you're talking about physical attacks, when you're talking about in like terms of poltergeists, like I believe poltergeists are actually part of the demonic from my experiences. A lot of people believe that there is a human trigger, that there is some kind of a human event that causes poltergeist activity. Some believe that poltergeists are just a different type of spirit, like a sprite or, some kind of an elemental spirit. But I personally believe that that kind of a spirit, based on the strength and the power to be able to move different kinds of like large objects such as stoves or refrigerators and cause a lot of havoc and a lot of damage and bring a lot of fear into people and bring a lot of elements of isolation, because people will believe that that girl is causing this. She's the human trigger. She's the one and so they isolate her, and that's when the demon can go after her. So I believe it's all demonic inside, but it shows that the demons and the angels, anything that never walked the earth as a human being, has a much greater power to it. And so that's kind of where I start to see the difference between a human spirit that either is just trapped, lost, misguided, or malicious versus something that is demonic. You could just tell by the types of attacks, the types of events that happen, the strength and the power of the entity as it creates different manifestations. A human spirit doesn't have as much energy to actually manifest as a demonic spirit would have. A demonic spirit can make full body apparitions very easily. And so there's kind of like a balancing act there. And again, I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, because if I did, I'd be a millionaire, because I would have turned what was paranormal into a science if I had the actual answers. So I'm going based only on my research and my years of experience and what I've learned through studying theology and working with the Catholic Church on different types of hauntings and just what I believe personally. So there's going to be a lot of people that differ with me, and I'm open to hearing what other people have to say, and we work together to try to have middle ground. And, but this is how I've been finding it. As of right now, I find the inhuman spirits tend to have more strength, more power, and tend to be a lot more malicious and a lot more physically involved when it comes to the demonic than a human spirit.
By the way, thanks to Mr. Spookcat and Spookcat on LGAB, the password tonight, phosphodiesterase. Its meaning is it's an enzyme that hydrolyzes phosphodiesters, which includes DNA, RNA, and certain lipids.
Oh, so it could be in like a diet, because don't diet pills have lipids?
I have no idea. I'm allergic to a few things, and the word diet is one of them. Son of a gun. You said, using the word diet on this show is like using the word squatch. It's banned. Banned.
Well, you can't say squatch.
No, I banned that.
You can't say scratch? No scratch?
No, I banned it. I'll tell you why.
Bummer.
No,
Okay.
I'll tell you why. It's a good reason. The late Dr. John Bindernagel, I had a chance to speak with him a couple of years ago, and I asked him about that because hearing that word was like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the word squatch. And this is a gentleman, God rest his soul. He's been, he studied Sasquatch from the time he was 14, 15 years old up until the time he died when he was like 84, 85 earlier this year. And when I asked him about the word squatch, and I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said, I can't believe one word has killed 70 years of research.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, because nobody takes it seriously now. Because it doesn't sound. That word has made the field a joke. So because of that, I banned it on this show.
Yeah, I usually just say Bigfoot. I usually don't even use the term Sasquatch. I just say Bigfoot.
Well, Bigfoot's the American term. Bigfoot's the American term.
Or
Sasquatch
Bubbles.
is.
I'll say I'll call it Bubbles. I like to name them.
Well, there you go.
I don't know why, but I always feel like giving them names make them more personal. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's like Carl the Alien. He needed a name.
Yeah, exactly.
Carl, good enough. Good enough. But thank you, Spookcat, Mr. Spookcat, for the definition of the password. I didn't think it actually had one. I think Bill just sits there with a Scrabble bag. But nonetheless, getting back to demonology here for a second.
Yeah.
And, how many demons have you actually ran into? Because I know people I trust, people whom I think are extremely good investigators who literally in their lifetimes in doing this 30, 40 years, 50 years, a couple of them, they have only come across one or two demons. Are we exploiting the whole demon aspect comparatively to how many there actually are roaming around and affecting people?
You mean when it comes to entertainment? Like, when you see certain investigators getting possessed almost every episode? In that aspect, yes. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it is more often not demonic or not even, sometimes, like I said, there are cases where I've gone in and it's not been paranormal whatsoever. I mean, that's more often than not. But I do notice that there has been a rise in demonic activity. And I think that that's pretty much threefold. Because of paranormal entertainment, it's gotten people interested in the paranormal to the point that they go out and they try to find these situations. They put themselves into the situations where they can develop some sort of an attachment by a malicious spirit or a demonic spirit because they want to try to emulate what they see on TV. They want to be like the people on TV, or they want to be the next person to get on TV. So they're putting themselves in situations that they don't know how to protect themselves against. And so you see that a lot too. And then with the internet, where everything's literally at the tip of your fingers, I have seen, there are apps out there where you can, do occult games, or you can, play with pocket Ouija boards. And, there's so much out there that is so much more accessible than before. You'd have to go to the library and you'd have to go thumb through all of those, files to try to find the right section and the right number to find the book that you wanted. And by that time, people didn't really care if they weren't that interested in it. Now, anybody of any age can just go online and it's instantly at their fingertips. And I think we've also kind of drawn ourselves away from, we're so involved in ourselves and we're so involved in this politically correct world now that, we're picking and choosing what we feel is moral and what we feel, because we don't want to offend anybody. So we have to say that, everything is moral. If that's what you believe in, then it's moral, it's good, it's okay, it's acceptable because you believe in it and I don't want to offend you. And so I think we're kind of moving away from, kind of more of the spiritual realm and becoming more self-centered. And so with combining with the internet and then the entertainment, making it interesting for people to go and put themselves in situations where they can get attachments or, just being able, just kind of pulling themselves away and being more self-absorbed and so overly politically correct that we're afraid to offend anybody for any reason. I think that we have been seeing an uptick in the demonic being able to play in people's lives, even if they don't even notice it. They might just be going about their daily lives and not realizing the influence behind it. But even with the uptick in the demonic that I do see and that I have been seeing, I don't think it's as rampant as TV wants to make it appear, because a lot of times demons don't like to draw attention to themselves. They want to work behind the scenes because once they draw attention to themselves, they lose a little bit of power, and they know that if somebody comes in, then it's a battle between good and evil, and good is going to win, and then they're going to be kicked out, and they're no longer going to be able to do what they want to do. So a lot of times they try to work behind the scenes where they're not going to get caught and they're not going to get found out, and that's why you don't see it as often as it appears to be on television. But I do notice an uptick. I do notice that there is a swing towards the demonic a little bit, and that's why the Catholic Church is trying to bring in more priests to become exorcists, and they're trying to encourage more priests to start to learn about demonology and about the rite of exorcism, and because there is somewhat more of a need due to the easily accessible occult nowadays.
Yeah, and we only have about 2 minutes left with you tonight, Andrea, but I do want to fit this in. With the amount of people now who are leaving the church and going and searching for their own spirituality, does that have anything to do with it? Or is it more the fact that society in general is, I'm going to use the term, crucifying anything Christian or Catholic or westernized religion?
I think it's more agnostic. General.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's more in general. Like I said, I think it's more of a threefold thing. I think it's people are pulling away from spirituality. People are pulling away. It's no longer PC to be Christian. It's no longer PC to believe in God of any religion. It's no longer PC to have religious convictions. But then we're also seeing, like I said, the accessibility due to the internet. People are just, it's at their fingertips now. They could just look it up and it's there, and they don't even realize what they're messing with. They just see it on TV and think it's really cool, and they want to try it themselves to see if they can have a thrill, not realizing that they are dealing with things, if they don't understand, it can be extremely dangerous. And that's when we start to see the snowball. And I think the demonic forces know all of this, and they're using it to their advantage. And that's why we're seeing an uptick, an increase in real legitimate cases of the demonic. I don't think we're at the, like I said, the precipice where the TV tries to make it appear, but we are seeing an uptick in legitimate cases.
Andrea, where can people find your books, your radio show, and everything you're doing publicly?
Well, I actually, if you go to my Facebook page right now, it's facebook.com/paranormal Ronin. That's RONIN, and it's all one word, Paranormal Ronin. Or you can go to paranormalronin.blogspot.com. That's my official page, which is about to come down temporarily because I've got some new secret projects in the works. But you can find general information temporarily there until all of this new stuff that I have secretly going on in the background actually comes up. So paranormalronin.blogspot.com, or find me on Facebook at facebook.com/paranormalronin, RONIN.
Thank you, Andrea, for coming on Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up after the break, we have Olaf Phillips with the SOR Newswire. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. We've rounded third. We are heading for home tonight. And on that note, we bring in the man, the myth, the Team Stump legend, Olaf Phillips from Paranoia Magazine. So good he needs his own theme song. The news is always changing, and that's why we bring you the SOR Newswire the last half hour of every show, because it's weird, it's wacky, and a little bit of WTF thrown in on the side, just a dash of it. But Olaf steps in from Paranoia Magazine at paranoiamagazine.com if you want to check it on out. Olaf, what's going on, brother?
Oh, not much. It was Thanksgiving, so, mostly Thanksgiving stuff. Writing a new article on Nibiru. Hmm?
Oh, yes, the planet that doesn't exist.
Well, Planet X exists, but Nibiru, as it's been outlined, does not exist now.
I agree with you.
But what is Nibiru really? Huh? That's where I got you.
Oh, there you go.
Really?
See, that's why you have a thicker beard than I do, because you figured out what Nibiru is.
Well, I have a theory.
But nonetheless, it's also the 55th anniversary of the assassination of JFK.
It is.
Think we'll ever get the truth on that?
Never. Although, E. Howard Hunt did have a dying confession where he outlined how they did it. What's surprising about his deathbed confession is that it actually is pretty much the plot of a movie called Executive Action. And, somebody once told me, somebody who knows such things once told me, he said, I wouldn't believe anything that E. Howard Hunt said. I said, yeah, but it was his deathbed confession. And he goes, does that mean that he was telling the truth? I said, I guess not.
That's true. That is true.
He said E. Howard Hunt was the kind of guy that would lie even as he was dying. And I said, but why? He goes, because he could.
Exactly.
Said, okay.
Go out with some BS. Lead them on one final time before you hit the clock out.
That's right. Before you clock out.
What do you got for the news for us today, brother?
Okay, well, this is big news. Front page news, hot off the presses. Extremely drunk curlers apologize after being thrown out of tournament amid locker damage.
Mm-hmm.
An Olympic champion has apologized after his curling team was thrown out of a Canadian tournament for being extremely drunk. Ryan Fry, who won gold at the Sochi Winter Olympics in 2014, was part of the team ejected from the Red Deer Curling Classic for what the World Curling Tour called unsportsmanlike behavior. After receiving numerous complaints from opponents and spectators, the tournament committee at the Pidherney Curling Center was compelled to intervene, reported CBC Sports.
You know what? I got to say this. First off, if you don't drink beer, you cannot curl. Curling and beer go very much synonymous, like McDonald's fries with a Big Mac. It is the exact same thing. You cannot curl and not have beer. It's impossible.
Yeah, but do you need to be drunk while you're curling?
Some people, they curl better. We're a strange society, man. We are a strange society up here.
That's true. True.
So it does not surprise me. Does not surprise me whatsoever that we have this happening.
Well,
I think they gave Mr. Fry a little bit too much of a penalty. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the curling, man.
Dude, I'm a curling fan too. I love curling. I mean, really. You know, they sweep it. I mean, they have like official curling brooms. I mean, it's the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never seen it, watch some curling. It's insanely awesome to watch.
Learn what hurry and hard mean. You got to try it out with me, Olaf. Come on. hurry, hard. There you go. Now you get the lingo down. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. So
a couple drink beer, huh?
Absolutely. You know, a couple weeks ago, I got another story here for you. A couple weeks ago, in Kamloops, British Columbia, which is just about a 2-hour drive south of me, British Columbia's first pot store opened up. Legalized pot store opened up. Well, they got another. It went good. They sold out, but they got another first coming up, as they will be opening up the first sex doll brothel
in Kamloops.
In Kamloops, I don't know what's with Kamloops. They're acting quite Floridian these days.
Maybe it's the Tampa of Canada.
Could be. They're also known as the tournament capital of Canada. Lady named Kirsten Dixon says she's always wanted to own a brothel, and now with the new sex doll craze, she has the opportunity to do so. So she is providing a rental service for House of Dolls in the city to operate a home-based rental business for adult novelty toys. So she's going to rent out these dolls. You know, I think she's the second one now. Yes, because Vancouver is going to be having or just opened Bella Dolls in Vancouver. And 30-minute bookings were $90, 2 hours $160. How do you keep company with a sex doll for 2 hours? I don't get that.
I have no idea.
But yes, apparently, yes. The town of Kamloops is jumping on the sex doll craze to set up a brothel. That's all I got for the news.
The sex doll brothel, the sex doll brothel capital of Canada.
Could very well be. Could very well be. What do you got else in that hidden in that news section?
Well, this is some good news. An Arizona pigeon found wearing a rhinestone vest has been reunited with its owner. All of the pigeon had been missing from his home in Peoria, Arizona for more than a week. A pigeon that had flown the coop with only its bedazzled vest is nesting back home in Phoenix. So the wayward rhinestone-invested pigeon has gone home.
That's nice. That's a nice story. I'm glad the bird made it home. I like it when animals get reunited, man.
And it's a nice vest. I got to tell you, it's a nice vest.
I mean, I do question anybody who puts rhinestones on like birds or cats or small dogs. Let the dogs be dogs and cats be cats and birds be birds. Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think that's funny. You know, people, that's so cute. No, it's not cute.
Hilarious.
Well, you're
putting a rhinestone vest on a bird.
You live in California, man. You live in California. You dress your chickens in sweaters down there.
I do not dress. I do not have chickens. Thank you very much.
You will when you move to Oregon, and you're going to get sweaters for them because if you can put plaid on anything, I know you're going to put it on your chickens.
No, I'll put it on my dog. I have a very nice dog who would look great in plaid.
Well, we may agree to disagree on that one. Give me another one, bud. Oh, by the way, Aussie Rob says that's animal abuse.
All right. This one I actually found to be very shocking. From the UK, more than 7,000 still watching black and white TV across the UK. It's been half a century since the dawn of color television, but more than 7,000 people across the UK are still watching in black and white according to TV licensing. Despite an increase in the use of smart televisions as well as tablets, smartphones to access TV content, some 7,161 UK households are spurning modern technology and have not switched over to color transmission. TV licensing spokesman Jason Hill said over half the UK's TVs now connect to the internet, so it's interesting that more than 700 households still choose to watch their favorite shows on a black and white telly.
That is odd.
7,000. Yeah.
I'm surprised the screens have lasted that long.
Well, for, just for the people who may not know this, that in the UK, you actually have to buy a television license for your TVs. So, you buy a television license and you can buy color or black and white. And every year you pay, it's called teletax, but you pay a licensing fee to have a television in the UK. And then that money is used to subsidize the BBC. And I will tell you this, as an American who lived in the UK, the BBC that we see in America is not the BBC you see in England. The BBC you see in England is pretty much like 21 hours of garbage. And then about 3 hours of really great stuff. That's the 3 hours you get when you watch PBS here. Okay?
Hey.
But yeah, 7,000. I didn't say the CBC. I said the BBC.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm still fine with that. Still fine with that.
Oh, I remember once I was cooking breakfast. It was like a Saturday morning. I was cooking breakfast, and I tuned into, I think it was BBC 3. There's one radio channel that's always just like documentaries, and they were having a retrospective on dam busting bombs, and it was like a 3-hour show on the history of dam busting bombs. And I was like, okay, fantastic.
Wow.
7,161 households have black and white TVs.
Amazing. Didn't know that existed. Did not know that existed. Do we got time for one more?
I think so. This is a funny one. Apparently, they have uncovered a 4,000-year-old tablet that is believed to be the world's oldest customer service complaint. It's an ancient Mesopotamian tablet, and basically what it says is that, let's see here, it is, according to courts, about 4,000 years ago, Nani, possibly a businessman or artisan, wrote a note to the merchant A. Nasir complaining about the copper ingots he had purchased were of inferior quality, and El Nasir had treated him badly by not refunding his money. And here it is. This is the actual 4,000-year-old customer service complaint. Tell me what you think. How have you treated me for that copper? You have withheld my money bag from me in enemy territory. It is now up to you to restore my money to me in full. Take cognizance that from now on I will not accept here any copper from you that is not of fine quality. I shall from now on select and take the ingots individually in my own yard, and I shall exercise against you my right of rejection because you have treated me with contempt. The tablets were inscribed in cuneiform, one of the first written languages of the Middle East. According to Britannica.com, Europeans first learned of the ancient writings that were not in languages such as Arabic, Egyptian, Hebrew, or Greek, usually found in tablets. In 1700, Thomas Hyde, a British professor of Arabic and author of Historia Regulus Venturum Persenium, the history of the religion of ancient Persia, called the new language cuneiform. So there you go, 4,000-year-old complaint. And it sounds exactly like the one that could have been filed 2 weeks ago if you were trading copper ingots.
Man, that sounds like something you would find on Yelp.
It did. When I read it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is a Yelp review for like a bad sushi restaurant."
No kidding. Let's get to the thought. Let's get to the thought of the day, man. We're running out of time.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and then we read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. So today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What's the strangest thing that's happened to you on Thanksgiving? In honor of all of our American friends and listeners, even you, Mr. Skeptic, on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, and everybody over on LGAB, like Bart L. Producer, who apparently does not like poutine because of cheese curds, says it's a waste of gravy.
How can you not like poutine?
I know.
Poutine is amazing.
I know. He has a phobia. He has a phobia of cheese curds.
Oh, tell him cheese curds are the best.
Oh, he's listening.
I know. Oh my God, they're the best.
I know he's listening right now. Bart L. Producer is listening right now.
I love poutine.
Yeah, you don't go wrong. I keep saying to him, like the way he's whining about the cheese curds in there. I keep saying to him, dude, green eggs and ham. Green eggs and ham. Sometimes you just got to try it and you may like it. Go for it. Be a rebel, Bart L. Producer. Anyways, let's get to the thought of the day. What is the strangest thing that's happened to you on Thanksgiving? Chris, my dog broke my office chair. Amazon sent me the wrong new motherboard, and I'm getting in contact with someone that may blow this whole TTSA crap show wide open. Interesting. Thanks, Zuger. Trixie? I bought a brand new couch for the first Thanksgiving at my house. My ex-father-in-law grabbed the turkey from the counter, to carry it over onto the table. His own plan, not mine. And he used the foil baking pan, and it caved in, and the turkey went flying down, hit the top of the couch, then down into the cushions, and finally the floor. Turkey grease now covered my brand new couch that I just got the day before. Oh, poor girl. Poor girl. Chris, this is the first year I haven't had to work on Thanksgiving. It's a little strange. Allison says, this is long. We're forewarned. But it happened and it's interesting. My dad was dying of cancer in October 2003. His cancer had moved to his brain and he would often talk about the visions he was having. One night he told me we were in a room with crosses hanging on the walls. There was no crosses. He then said, don't worry, don't be scared. Go watch the Macy's parade on TV. Look, it's on. Everything is going to be okay. I just said, okay, Dad. As he was in and out of sleep, flash forward, my dad passed away a few days after that. My brother and I decided to take my grandparents down to their winter home in Texas in late November. We were about halfway there when my grandpa had a mini stroke. We took him to the hospital. He was put in a room, and we were waiting to find out more. I was scared and sad and still trying to deal with my dad passing away. I got up from the bedside chair, looked around at all the crosses on each wall. It was a Catholic hospital. Continued out of the room to a lounge area. I turned on the TV, and the Macy's Thanksgiving parade was on. At that moment, I knew everything was going to be okay. I felt a calmness over me. I went back to my grandpa's room, and the doctor was there. He said my grandpa was going to be just fine. Weird. Totally weird. Got time for one more here. We'll go to Reverend Keith. My mother put a very bright LED light thing that hangs on the inside of the toilet bowl. When you come in, it lights up the bowl in a kaleidoscope of bright colors. It's like relieving yourself at a Grateful Dead concert. That's my mom's humor. It's a good way to end it right there. Now, you're not with us tomorrow night, Olaf Phillips. You're taking the night off to hang out with your boys, and I don't blame you. But thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. Where can people find Paranoia Magazine?
I'd tell you happy Thanksgiving, too, but yours was in October. ParanoiaMagazine.com. ParanoiaMagazine.com. Paranoia Magazine on Facebook. Paranoia Mag on Twitter. Paranoia Mag with a Z on Instagram.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks, buddy. We also want to say you can find the news section at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news banner. I would appreciate that. Thank you to Andrea Mesich for coming on the show tonight. She is just a wonderful person. Wonderful person. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Get your horns up with the guitar god himself. Special thanks to all of you listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Special thanks to everybody on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Those chatting in LGAB, Rev Radio, the SOR Space Travelers Club at Spreaker. Thank you for being our friends. Thank you for tuning us in. Thank you for sharing our show, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.